Good afternoon and welcome to the Community Difference Plano. We have got a great show for you today. It may not feel like it quite yet, but tomorrow is the first day of fall. So football season's into swing. We've got some Plano High School football score updates. It is the third Tuesday of September, which means Katie, the insurance gal, here with us, our co-host. She's got a great guest with us today, Eric Reed, going to help us navigate some of the crazy things going on in the economy. Also, Congressman Shelby Williams is back, giving us some updates with Plano, some exciting things going on over the next couple of days. So you're going to want to stick around. All that next on the Community Difference.
Tune in to watch our communities grow. See how our citizens, local governments, churches, small businesses, schools, and our local sports teams are coming together and partnering to make the difference. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Community Difference, Plano, Texas, with your host Nathan Smith, and powered by the Difference live stream radio and podcast. So if you love your community and you love supporting the folks and businesses that make your community so special, then we invite you to like, follow, and subscribe to our pages, and then tune into each show to experience the Community Difference.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Community Difference, Plano, Texas. I am your host, Nathan Smith. It is good to be with you this week. We have, it's so Texas, and Plano's no exception, but it's so Texas of us to have like a nice, cool end of August, relatively speaking, of course, and kind of lulling us into that fall is near, and then just kind of snatching it away here for a week or so. Where the temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 90s. But good news is on the horizon. Tomorrow is the first day of fall, which is very exciting. And with that, I think if I check the weather, here comes some more fall-like temperatures, highs in the 80s, lows in the 60s, starting next week. And so hopefully that'll be, as we move into October, hopefully that'll be the end of the 95, 96-degree days, and that's not going to be an issue, hopefully, much longer. But with fall, of course, comes football season. We've got a lot of exciting games over the weekend. Try to cover those here with our Plano schools. And man, if you guys get a chance, go watch some high school football. It never disappoints, even if your team loses or you're just going to just experience it, right? Every time I go to a game, whether it's my buddy coaches at Dallas Christian, Lyndon, of course, the producer and creator of the Difference, used to coach there as well. No matter where I'm going to watch a game, you just kind of get this. It takes you back, right? If you ever played high school football or any type of football environment, man, it's just a cool place to be, to hang out, and to experience what's a really kind of integral part of our community, which is sports. And no better sport, in my opinion, to go watch than football, certainly this time of year. So I want to give you a couple of updates here. Just throw a couple of scores up for you. Plano, this is an interesting game. Plano Senior High just barely lost to Bowie. It's crazy because if you look at the breakdown here, right? No turnovers, no fumbles. They didn't have any interceptions. They got one interception from Bowie. Over 50% on third down. The stats say they should have won, but unfortunately they just missed it by a tiny bit. Here's the final stats: 404 total yards passing. Total yards 273 passing, 131 on the ground, which is pretty good because in high school, usually it's the other way around, right? You get a lot more rushing yards and passing yards. So obviously they have a good team. Just didn't quite get it done this time. Hopefully they'll have a better showing this coming Friday. Plano West edged out Boyd 24-21. Congratulations to Plano West. 320 total yards. See, here's what I'm talking about: 270 yards on the ground, just pounding the ball. That's awesome. That's what we like to see. And then, of course, Plano East by a touchdown beat Rock Hill. These are, of course, out of conference games. They'll start, I think, their conference schedule this week. A couple of players to note here. Just 3 or 4 games into the season, already averaging some pretty big numbers, rushing, receiving yards a game. Patel, 140 yards per game. Rushing yards per game, 193. Some phenomenal players, both wide receiver and running back, which is pretty amazing. And already getting some sack totals here that are getting pretty high early on in the season. So, man, make it a date night with the wife, or if you're alone and you don't have anything else to do, grab some buddies, go check out one of our Plano high school football games or any high school game. Just go enjoy it this time of year. So, Lyndon, did you get to watch any? Have you been to any high school games this year so far?
No, I have not got to watch any high school games this year so far.
I'm planning on going this Friday. I haven't figured out which Plano school I'm going to go to. Probably the one right down the street from where I live. It's super convenient. But
I may go to the Wiley game this weekend.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that'll be fun. Who are they playing?
Yeah, they are playing North Garland.
Okay, so they're already in their division schedule.
Yeah.
We had some, not just pertaining to Plano, but the Metroplex as a whole. I think a collective sigh of relief when people realized that the season may not be over for the Cowboys this weekend. That was nice. I don't even know what to say about that. It was surprising, but also very Cowboy-esque in a way. Like, it's just
they'll always do just enough to keep you loving them, but then they'll break your heart right at the end.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm the eternal optimist. So, speaking of sports, you guys, of course, we launched the new Real Talk Sports Show hosted by Brian Podeska and co-hosted with you on Thursdays now at noon. Talk about that, just a little bit, the vision behind that. I know we talked about it last time, but who do you guys got coming up this Thursday?
We got a big one coming up this Thursday. Obviously, my favorite team, the Arkansas Razorbacks, are coming to Dallas to play the Texas A&M Aggies. We're going to have some pretty cool guests on. We've got one of the actually a guy I played college football with. He works at the University of Arkansas now. He's coached all over the country in different colleges, but he is I'm not sure what his title is now. I know he was the player academic rep for a long time. And so we're going to have him on. We're working on one of the ex-Razorbacks players to be on. And then we're going to have some A&M fans as well. We're going to get a little bit of that sports banner going back and forth and trash talking. We had a pretty good one when Texas played Alabama. We had a couple of rabid sports fans on there. And so it's a lot of fun. We give some updates of what's going on around the area with the high schools. The first week, our very first show, when the number one team in the nation played Allen, we actually had their coach on along with Allen's coach, and it was a great interview with both of them. Unfortunately, Allen kind of came out on the wrong end, but another part of our show that we've been able to explain is a little bit of the differences in the California schools versus your Texas schools, and what Texas is kind of regulated with UIL on what they can and cannot do. California has a lot more flexible rules, if you want to call them rules, and so they're able to recruit statewide. They're able to do a lot of year-round practices that Texas high schools are not allowed to do. So that's a little bit about what we do. We'll be talking Cowboys, obviously. Good positive news there. And we'll be talking some college sports, like I said, with Arkansas and A&M, and then we'll talk a little bit about the high schools.
So you're telling me California is overregulated, but their football teams are not.
Yeah, imagine that. And look at the success. Look at the difference in the things that are regulated and their success, and the things that aren't regulated and their success. How does that work?
I don't know. We better not go down that rabbit. Better not go down that rabbit trail. So, thanks, Lyndon. Couple of things, guys. If you're into yoga, which I have tried, I used to go for a long time. I know I don't look like a yogi or yoga. I don't even know the combination, but I went for a friend of mine did hot yoga, and it's just what it sounds like. You are sweating profusely in this room, and it's dark, and you're doing yoga. But it was awesome. Like, it sounds weird. Reason I'm telling you this, tonight at White Rock Trail Park, that's 5500 Channel Isle Drive in Plano, Texas. Mindful meditation. It's a yoga experience out in nature, out on the White Rock Trail that goes all the way up into Plano. That's 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. tonight. Also, we just got done talking about sports. If you're like a sports trivia person, tonight at Legacy Hall Box Garden, 7800 Windrush Avenue in Plano, Texas. I'll tell you what, Legacy Hall Box Garden, they've got an event every night. I mean, you can literally look at visitplano.com and just go to their website. They're doing something crazy every night, which is awesome. So sports trivia night tonight, that is $30 for the sports trivia. And then for you moms or dads, stay-at-home mom, dad, whatever the case may be, tomorrow a paint and play date, which is going to be the Plano Shops at Willow Bend. which is 6121 West Park Boulevard, Suite C118 in Plano. It's going to be a craft time, just paint and play date for moms, dads, kids, whatever you want to. That's $15. I'm assuming just per kid. I guess the parents would pay. So a couple of things to do coming up over the next coming days. I want to keep you apprised of all those things. And then we're going to be ready to rock and roll here with our first guest. So as always, we are thankful for the relationships we get to build with the city. We've started to build some really good relationships with the city, with the school districts, local business owners, just getting good feedback, good understanding of what's going on in the community, and be able to bring some really informative, exciting, interesting people to the airways to give you guys information that is pertinent to Plano community life and just fun people that you should get to know and reach out to. And so nobody fits that bill better than our City Councilman Shelby Williams. He is back with us today. Got a couple of really exciting announcements. Shelby, welcome to the show. How are you doing this afternoon, sir?
I'm doing well, Nathan. Thank you very much. It's great to be back on.
Awesome. So how have you been since we last talked?
Busy. It's, I was saying, rarely a dull moment. I won't say never, but very rarely a dull moment. We've got actually a big council meeting coming up tonight. I reviewed easily 6 hours of planning and zoning video footage in preparation for this.
That sounds riveting. I'm glad you did that, and I didn't do that. But somebody
almost as exciting as football.
Almost, just like right there. So that's exciting. So tell me, when did you get elected? Was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
It was 3 years ago in June of 2019.
So when are you coming up? Is this your second term or your first term?
This is my first term. We are limited to 2 terms. I am up for re-election next year.
And will it be in November?
No, for Texas municipal elections, we have municipal elections in the spring. It'll be the first Saturday of May. I actually went to a runoff election, which is why I was not elected until June of 2019.
Okay. We'll definitely want to talk about that when we get closer to
yep.
Date. So, well, that's very exciting. Well, I wanted to have you on again. A couple of exciting things happening in Plano, but you reached out to me. That was something the other day on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, that just was right up my alley. And I thought, this is something that people need to know about. I think it's not just in Plano, but the fact that you're taking time to teach a course on what we're about to talk about was pretty amazing. As you guys may know, I believe it was this past Saturday, we celebrated Constitution Day, the day the Constitution was signed in 1787. That was the September 17th, which was pretty much one of the most amazing days in legislative government history across the world. The Great American Experiment began, and we've been trying to navigate what all that means and what we've accomplished, and just been the source of both amazing things, but also lots of controversies as far as the Constitution is concerned. And what I found is that people just one, probably haven't read it. So many people, which is really sad. No judgment, but pretty sad. And two, they are like I mentioned in my post the other day on Facebook, may be getting a lot of really poor information or interpretation or understanding. And so, first of all, just tell us, when the class is. Just give us a quick when and where, because we're going to go to our first break, and we come back. We'll actually talk.
Certainly. So the when is this Thursday evening. Gathering, doors open at 6:30. The actual presentation begins promptly at 7 p.m. It's timed for an hour and a half, including Q&A. So all told, doors open at 6:30, plan to be finished by 8:30, but I always stick around for any one-on-one questions. So the timing of this is actually my, I think my 5th year doing this. I do this annually during Constitution Week. Constitution Week is actually the week beginning with Constitution Day, September 17th, whichever day of the week that may fall on, and then for the ensuing week. So Constitution Day this year was this past Saturday. So I'm conducting it during Constitution Week this Thursday. And the whole idea, this is not going to turn somebody into a constitutional expert, but it is a primer that goes deeper than you probably ever learned in school. And it discusses, first, here's the actual Constitution as written, including with bonus material, the Declaration of Independence and all 27 amendments that have been passed. So this is a lighter read than one issue of People magazine, and far, far more important. So if you've never read the Constitution, I highly recommend picking up a pocket Constitution. I always bring some of these to the presentation. I gave out almost all of mine last week. I have ordered more. I don't know if they'll arrive in time, but these are readily available. They're $1 a piece on Constitution Action Network.
There's also a Constitution app that you can download.
That's right.
You have the text.
That's
breaks it down by amendments and everything. Well, I want to talk more about this and how you kind of got started and just a little bit of the content, why this is so important to you. We're going to hit our first break, and then we'll be right back more with Shelby Williams, so stick around.
The difference is made possible by the following small businesses.
Are you in the market for a new or used car or truck? Then contact Derek Wallets at Sam Pack's 5-Star Ford in Carrollton, Texas today. With Derek's 20-plus years of experience in automobile sales consulting and Sam Pack's 42 years of exceptional service in the DFW community, you will quickly understand what it means to experience the Sam Pack difference. So give Derek and Sam Pack 5-Star Ford a call today at 972-299-0028 or email him at dwallets@sampack.com.
WeatherTech General Contracting. We make your home renovation dreams a reality.
Metroplex Delivery is DFW's premier restaurant delivery service. Metroplex Delivery brings premium restaurant food right to your door. Metroplex Delivery offers uncompromising white glove treatment. Launching in McKinney and Allen. Give Metroplex Delivery a call at 469-505-0844 or online at www.metroplex.delivery. And by
Alan Lester, branch manager and team lead for the One Group, a branch of Town Square Mortgage. With over 22 years in the mortgage lending industry, Allen and Town Square Mortgage have many loan program options available from conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, and many investor and self-employed programs. So if you're looking for the best in the business, give Alan a call at 214-681-0234.
If you would like to know how you and your business can sponsor this show or others like it, please contact us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Community Difference. We are here with Plano City Councilman Shelby Williams talking about the Constitution 101 class. This is now your 5th year teaching this. I believe you said it's this Thursday night, September 22nd. You can just show up, correct? It's at Lord of Life Lutheran Church, 3601 West 15th Street in Plano, Texas. So take a screenshot of this. We'll have it up here in a minute before Shelby leaves. But talk us about, I have a history degree. American history is one of my big passions. I love this kind of discussion, not just for the discussion's sake, but because, it's amazing how relevant it always is and how yet people don't understand the Constitution. They don't understand their rights. They like to add to rights. They like to take away rights. They don't know what our government can and can't do, the powers of the people. And, I would have to say probably Plano, just demographically and whatnot, probably is a little more savvy maybe than some other cities, just based on different factors and voting factors and things like that. But tell me how this got started and why this is so important to you.
Sure. First, I'll note that you're correct. You can just show up. This event is always free to the public, and it is family friendly. Kindergartners may have some stuff go over their head, but it's all applicable to everybody. So especially if you have older children or teenagers, this will take them beyond what they're learning in school about the Constitution and the events surrounding it. Part of what's important about this and understanding the Constitution is the historical context. What certain phrases meant back in 1787. They don't necessarily mean the same thing today. People don't talk the same way, especially in legal documents. But what started this, Nathan, was for a long time, I have been involved with the Convention of States, which is a nonprofit organization, nonprofit and nonpartisan organization, which aims to bring about a convention of the states, hence the name, to propose amendments to the Constitution under Article 5, which is the article that has to do with proposing amendments. And one of the things that we discovered is that so few people out there have any idea what's actually in the Constitution, what it actually says. So we started several years ago to actually put on these Constitution 101s. I've continued mine every year. Happy to bring that to the folks in and around Plano. And it's just meant to be a primer, an introduction, and provide you with the starting point to delve as far down the rabbit hole as you care to go.
That's awesome. We need to talk more about the Convention of States, because that's something that I didn't know there was like a nonprofit group. I've been interested in that for a long time. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, in order to bring forth an amendment, you have to, is it 2/3 of the states have to agree on the amendment, or to propose it, and then 75% to actually ratify it. Is that correct?
Sort of. So there are two methods of amending the Constitution. The first method, which is the way it's always been done, is 2/3 of each branch of Congress proposes an amendment, and then it has to be ratified by 3/4 of the states. The alternate means, which was proposed 2 days before the end of the Constitutional Convention by George Mason, is to allow 2/3 of the states to apply for a convention to propose amendments. So if that passes, then the convention is convened, and all of the delegates from all of the states get together and they hash out what they think the amendments should be proposed are. And any amendments that make it out of that convention likewise have to be ratified by 3/4 of the states.
So the delegates in that Convention of States would not necessarily be the representatives of their Congress. They can just be anybody the state chooses.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. In fact, in the Constitution, presidential electors were forbidden to be sitting Congress members. So each state gets to appoint its own delegates, but most states that have passed so far have said, yeah, we don't want members of Congress going. It's a conflict of interest, because this is literally the way to end run Congress to propose amendments.
Yeah, because there's a lot of amendments that I know that want to be proposed that would directly affect Congress that they probably would not be in favor of. So we won't get into that right now. So, hey, if you didn't know those things, this is something that you would probably want to attend. It's a great family event. Come out there, check it out. Get to meet Congressman, maybe one day, Councilman Shelby Williams. Who knows what your aspirations are, at Lord of Life Lutheran Church. I'll throw it back up here real quick. That's this Thursday, September 22nd, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And then also coming up this weekend is the big annual Plano Balloon Festival. Very exciting. That's Thursday through, I believe, Saturday, correct? And tell us about that. Tell us, first of all, how long is this balloon festival has been going on for many years? How did it get started?
Honestly, I'm not sure how it got started. I will relate a story I was sharing with y'all before the show. My wife and I moved to Plano in 2003 and got our house basically adjoining Oak Point Park, where the balloon festival is held and where balloons launch throughout the year. One of our first weekends there, Saturday morning, I'm woken up by what I thought was sounds of war. Just I leapt out of bed, looked out the window. There's a hot air balloon, probably about 50, maybe 100 feet over my house, just firing. I guess he was getting too low, so he's trying to get higher and higher. So that was my one of my introductions to the city of Plano back in 2003. But yeah, the festival occurs every year around this time. It has been flooded out at least once, and then COVIDed out twice. So we're very excited to be back. It starts Thursday and it runs through Sunday. Weather permitting, there are balloon launches. There are tons of games, vendors, all the fried food you can eat. And on Friday and Saturday evenings, they have the balloon glow, where all the balloons array on the field after it's dark, and they light them up. It's a spectacular display. And there are also fireworks.
Wow, that's awesome. So that's literally like 5 minutes from where we live. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to try to take the family. Are you going to be out there?
I am. My family and I are going to be out there Saturday afternoon after all the kids' practices and events.
Is it a good thing to bring some camping chairs? Would you be sitting somewhere at some point?
Yes. So, in fact, yes, it's highly advisable to bring camping chairs and stuff to camp out for the evening, picnic blankets, stuff like that. So there's a whole hillside where you can sit, claim your spot, and then watch the fireworks, watch the balloon glow, watch anything and everything, and use as your base while you explore the festival.
And eat delicious fried food. That's amazing. So that's very exciting. Well, Shelby, thank you for popping in. As always, I know you've got to head to another meeting here shortly, but hey, guys, if you didn't get a chance, make sure you screenshot this Constitution class this week, this Thursday, September 22nd, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., Lord of Life Lutheran Church, and then also Thursday through Sunday, especially in the evening time when they do the balloon glow, the fireworks, the Plano Balloon Festival. Going to be fantastic. Shelby, thank you so much for coming on. We will talk to you soon, and hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Nathan. Hope to see you this weekend.
Absolutely. Bye. All righty, so we're going to move right along here, getting up close to our second break, but I'm going to bring in our favorite co-host every third Tuesday of the month. We have the insurance gal, Miss Katie Owen. Katie, how are you today?
Hi, Nathan. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me back on.
My pleasure. So how have you been since we last talked? What new is going on in your life?
I've been great. My agents and I are busy preparing for the Medicare annual enrollment period, which launches on October 15th. And I did want to comment on a few things you were discussing earlier about football. Sure. The Plano Senior Homecoming is actually this week. And you said you were looking for a game to go to Friday night. That would be a fantastic game to go to. The band usually does a walkout around 6, and then they're going to have the homecoming court at 6:30, and the kickoff is at 7. So I'm actually going to be there. So
Plano Senior High. Is that?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember
Senior High School.
I try to remember where all the schools are now. That's the one like off Parker? Is that right?
It's off Park and Independence. The game will be at Clark Stadium, right by Clark High School.
Remind me where that is.
So Clark Stadium is off Spring Creek, just east of Alma.
Oh yeah. That's right where my office. That's the band I would always hear practicing. Where at our old office, we used to office right up there just north of Spring Creek. So perfect. That makes perfect sense. And it starts at 6, and then 7 is the game. The band walkout is always so much fun, and then the homecoming court, of course, is 6:30. It's the whole homecoming tradition. That's awesome. Homecoming games are great. So yeah, I actually really would like to come. So you and I will coordinate offline and see if we can figure something out. So we'll get
in fact, together. Plano Senior is playing Plano East, so it's 2 Plano schools.
Perfect. That'll be perfect. So awesome. Well, what else is going on? I think you were out of town. Did you go to town recently? Am I making that up?
I was. Yes, I was out of town. Yeah.
Vacation or business?
A little bit of both.
Okay. Where'd you go?
Yeah. So I went to Northern California. I was in Carmel, which is near Monterey.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. Got to visit my family there. And that was a great trip. Of course, this time of the year, Medicare is certainly ramping up and busy. So I actually did a lot of work while I was there, but it was good to be able to do both, spend quality time with family, and then also serve my clients.
That's awesome. Now, Medicare enrollment, like any other health insurance enrollment, is pretty frantic time of the year. I know some of our other people that are doing the wider market of health insurance for all other ages and Medicare, of course, are just very busy from October. I guess when does it end? Is it January for Medicare, or is it just
for Medicare? Yeah, it's very specific. It's October 15th through December 7th.
Okay, a day that we're living in for me, December 7th.
Yeah.
So, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you've got a great guest today, a good friend of ours in our networking group, Mr. Eric Reed. He's going to tackle some things that are going on. Just help us navigate from an investment standpoint and just kind of what to look out for in this crazy economy, especially if you're, your target market, seniors getting ready to retire. We're going to talk a little bit about teachers, right? That's an interesting market, and just some things to be aware of. We're going to hit that when we come back. So guys, stick around. We'll be right back with Katie Owen and Eric Reed on the Plano Community Difference.
Tired of that north of the border seasoning? Thinking there's got to be more than just salt and pepper to flavor your steak? Your brother-in-law yapping that he's the grill master? Here's your solution. Goodness Steak Seasoning. It's a blend of 9 unique herbs and spices that'll have your mouth saying, goodness. What was once just for steak night for the family is now being enjoyed by thousands of families across the USA. Grab a bottle or two today at Ham's Meat Market off the square in McKinney, Profound Foods in Fairview, and at bringthetasty.com.
All righty, welcome back to the Community Difference Plano. We're here with the insurance gal, Katie Owen. And Katie, you've got a great guest today, a friend of ours that we network with, Mr. Eric Reed, and I'll give you a chance to introduce him if you would.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to bring Eric to our audience. Eric is a financial advisor, and he is amazing and helps me and my clients when they're interested in long-term care policies, life insurance policies. And I love bringing Eric's years of experience and just incredible knowledge to the table when my clients have this type of need, and we together help my clients find the best policies. So yes, and Nathan and I both get to network and hang out and have fun with Eric on a weekly basis. And so I'm just thrilled that our audience can get to know Eric a little better today.
What's up, Eric? How you doing?
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate it.
Definitely. So Eric, I know you don't live in Plano, but you live really close. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm real close. So literally across the street, the rest of my neighborhood goes to Plano East. So we're real close out here. But a fun story, and I'll echo on the Plano Senior High, is one of our very, very good friends is a coach for Plano Senior High. So go check out that game. And I actually was at the Bowie game that you had referenced earlier, and they should have won the game. It was a tough way to end that one. They should have won that one. That was just a couple of some penalties really is what ended up. They extended some drives with some penalties and just some unforced errors and allowed Bowie to get the lead, and they couldn't get it back. So it really wasn't anything big other than just they killed themselves more than anything.
Was that their first loss?
No, I think they had maybe one earlier, but they should be in good shape going into district. What he told me is it's a tough district, but they should be in good shape.
Awesome.
So, and then as far as me personally, I moved to Texas in 2005, so transplant here from Oklahoma, and have beautiful wife of 17 years, and my daughter is now 10. She just turned 10, and we actually live in the Lucas area. So we're, like I said, we're literally right here. She goes to Lovejoy, but we're definitely big proponents of Plano and definitely hit up a lot of spots. So.
Awesome. And how did you get into the business you're in? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the first part of my career was spent in banking. And one of the things about banking that I loved was you got to help people. The other side of that is it was very short term. A lot of it was transactional. You made relationships, but in the positions that I was in, it was very, we got to know each other, but it just didn't feel like as fulfilling for me. And through some networks and meeting people, made the transition over to the financial service world about 7-8 years ago, and has really been that fulfillment of being able to really, I feel like, make an impact and help people understand what's out there, navigate. There's a wide world of all kinds of financial services and what you can do, what you can't, and where to put money, where not to put money, why to put it different places. And I think that's just helping people navigate that so it's not too overwhelming for them. And that's the biggest thing for me, is just why I got into it, for sure.
Katie,
go ahead, Nate.
Sorry. So what are some of the scenarios where you guys have been able to partner up and that it really helped you in your field with your particular client base. Sorry if I stole your question. I was just curious about that.
No, I would say for me, there's so much in the financial world. Like it would be virtually impossible for me to know everything. So one of the things that I've done and with networking as the three of us do is go out and find experts, because we have an expertise in what we do, but as we tell our clients to go build a board of directors of people around them that they trust, we do the same thing with other professionals. So one of the things that when Katie and I met, as we got to talk, is a big portion of financial planning is, especially in the retirement years, is long-term care. And so we got to really talk on that and really got to understand that she was an expert in Medicare. We have a lot of clients moving into that. I've had clients go into that, but that's something I don't have the expertise in, nor do I necessarily have the time to really go study that. So that's where her and I have joined together, where I can here, Katie, here's some clients that need to navigate Medicare. Can you help them out? And when I've done that, they've been overjoyed. And that's the beautiful part of having these relationships and these network and these partners.
I'll tell you what I've learned just in having some offline meetings with Katie and obviously at our networking group. It is amazing what you don't know about Medicare. Not you, but like in general. Like you just, you kind of think, well, you just get on Medicare and it just magically happens. And that couldn't be any further from the truth. So it's been a treat for me, and I know for Katie and her clients, and just hopefully, because Katie's gone as a guest. Of course, now she's a co-host with us the third Tuesday of the month. But I know it's been a treat and hopefully great information for our listeners to understand that as they get into that season of life, or they have parents or grandparents in that season of life, that there are some very important areas to navigate, and there's somebody that you can trust to actually do that for you. I'll give Katie another shout out. When we first got connected, I referred my dad to her, and come to find out, my dad was in a really good plan already, which is good news. But the first thing he said was, "Man, it was nice being able to talk to somebody that was a person," and just the fact that she told him, "Hey, you're in a good spot," was very, very eye-opening to him, because he goes, "Well, I'm not getting sold." A lot of people come on and, we all want to do business with people, but we're not going to, like Katie's not going to put you in a position that you don't need to be in, or just try to get you to be one of our clients just to have for her sake. And I know, in your practice, you do the same thing, so do I. But I think it's a rare quality in anywhere in the financial industry, where it shouldn't be, because it's part of fiduciary responsibility to really look out for a client's best interest. I mean, there's every exam that you take, that's a huge part of the exam, but unfortunately it's often overlooked, sadly, in the industry. So just wanted to give a shout out to Katie, just that her approach and her attitude and her ability to put people at ease is really, really good thing.
I appreciate that, Nathan. In fact, I was visiting with one of my clients that I've had for many, many years, because I've been an insurance agent now for 19 years, who I helped with other plans through his employer years ago. And he and I just spoke today. He's already on Medicare. He got on Medicare before he knew I could help him. And he said that one of the things that was most important to him is to have a local agent and somebody that he trusted. And so he wants me to review his policy and his wife's policy during the Medicare annual enrollment period, and and see if there's something better. A lot of carriers are actually coming out with some incredible plans for next year. So we're really excited at these extra benefits. Just different insurance companies are like, no, we're going to one up our competitors. We're going to add even more benefits to a policy. So you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, I'm always going to do what's right for my client. And that's one of the reasons why I like working with Eric so much. Is Eric is just a straight shooter, and he gives lots of quotes, lots of explanation, and my clients feel just very secure working with him. So Eric, I'm curious, for seniors who are staring down retirement, maybe they're, mid to late 50s, early 60s, What are some of the questions, or what are some of the considerations that you feel are most important for seniors as they are coming into the Medicare age of 65?
Yeah, obviously there's lots of different scenarios, and a lot of people will have a lot of different questions depending on where they're at and where they're coming from. So I would just start out too with saying that no one plan, no one situation is the same. So when you work with a financial advisor of any sort, make sure they understand what your goals are and what you want to do. But I think as you come into retirement, the biggest things that people is really have that plan for you've accumulated over the years, and you've really built your wealth and you've built that, but it's some of the most often overlooked is on the back end, and that's the distribution phase. And that's when you start needing your money. You're not working anymore, so you're more on fixed income. Do you have the necessities taken care of? If you don't, how do we get that to where you do, so you don't feel the pressure of relying on markets and stuff like that, where when you were working and you had income coming in, a lot of that didn't matter. So a lot of times when we work with people as they're walking into retirement, that's where we see is really getting that plan really laid out for them. And then the protection pieces, long-term care. Long-term care is huge. It can derail an entire financial portfolio quickly. So not that you have to go buy long-term care insurance, but you have to have a plan in place, however that may be. But, and that's what we talk with people, especially when the 50s and we're coming up. That's an ideal time to really have those conversations with them on that. And we work with people that have other financial advisors, but we also work with our clients as well as we're developing their financial plans, and that's part of it. So that's a big conversation.
I was talking to a gal that I was networking with recently, and she's in her early 50s. And she said, when should I consider long-term care? And kind of in the same breath, she said, I don't think I can afford it. And I said, well, first off, you really do need to look at it when you're in your early 50s. Second of all, you don't have to pick a policy that would pay 100% of what you might need if you went into assisted living or skilled nursing. You could do a smaller percent of the expenses you might incur and then use your estate to kind of fill the gap. And then the third thing was, you don't have to necessarily pay a high premium. You can tell us, I can only afford X amount per month. And then, Eric will go to, he'll go to all his quoting systems and then find opportunities and options within that budget. I mean, we've done that before with people.
Right.
So what else would you add to the whole long-term care conversation?
Yeah, I think, and even some of the just total insurance overall is there is a little bit of a misnomer out there that it's too expensive, it's too high. It really isn't. And the trade-off for what, the flip side of that, we can't afford. That's the problem. Medical expenses are too high. You look at life insurance. I know Nathan and I have talked about this many times, but it's, people tell you they can't, the premium side, well, you can't afford the other side because if something happens, that's right. So, but specifically with long-term care, like you said, you don't have to cover 100%. And a lot of people don't cover 100% of the cost anymore. There used to be some plans out there, and there's a couple still out there that with some unlimited benefits. But even in those, when we sit down with people and structure with people, it's all about a supplement, because people are going to have Social Security. They're going to have retirement assets. So if we can come in and ease the burden on some of that with a policy, we can make it very affordable so that they don't feel like it's an overbearing premium that they're paying. And there are options out there with return of premium stuff, so you don't feel like it's a use it or lose it. So it just depends on what you're looking for and what fits, and what we can qualify you for. But it can be affordable. It can be very valuable. And like I said, you don't have to do 100% of it, but also to echo, fit in your 50s is ideal. That's going to be your best best pricing, because everything with insurance is age and health.
Let me ask you this real quick, and then if you'll answer it on the other side of the break. And this is for both you guys. You find that some people, like with insurance in general, they're like, well, I got to die to get that. That's not exciting to think about. But in long-term care, you kind of, well, I got to be in this, that must mean that I'm in this terrible mental state and I'm in this memory care facility, or they just have this really negative connotation of long-term care. Do you find that that's sometimes a barrier to people really having that conversation? And obviously that's not the reality. But when we get back from the break, just answer that question for me and just talk about, when you talk about long-term care, what is all that covering? What types of facilities? What does that really mean? If you can kind of extrapolate a little more detail on the other side of this break. Guys, stick around. We'll be right back.
The difference is made possible by the following small businesses.
Real property management focus. An unmatched level of service to property owners, investors, and tenants throughout the DFW Metroplex.
Katie Owen, the insurance gal, helps overwhelmed Medicare-eligible people successfully navigate the enrollment process. When turning 65, retiring, and signing up for Medicare for the first time, it can be confusing. So it's important to get guidance from someone you can trust. Katie helps her clients navigate the enrollment process in a way that eliminates the feeling of being overwhelmed and unsure and leaves her clients feeling relieved and confident. If you have questions about the Medicare process and want advice from someone you can trust, reach out to Katie at 972-943-3943 or at her website, www.insgal.com.
When you need a trusted roofing company on your side to help you out with storm damage repair for your roof, call Cook DFW Roofing. Serving Anna, Melissa, Princeton, Prosper, Van Alstyne, and all of the DFW area.
Red Branch Realty and owner realtor Ashley Gentry are true champions at every level. As a top producer, Ashley Gentry and Red Branch Realty truly embody their mission of being your supporter and partner in your personal real estate journey. So if finding the best representation possible in achieving the American dream of homeownership is important to you, give Ashley a call at 972-342-1869.
For more information about our sponsors and their services, or if you would like information on how you and your business can partner with or sponsor this show, or others like it, just check the show description or comments for the relevant links and contact information. And now back to the show.
All righty, guys, welcome back. I love it when Katie's commercial plays in her segment. It makes me happy. Katie is a much beloved and appreciated show sponsor, or station sponsor, I should say. So she's on all of our different shows across the entire the Difference family, especially this show, which is important because it's my show. So I like it really a lot. Great having you here, guys. As we mentioned before the break, Eric or Katie, if you can just kind of, in layman's terms, unpack, if you will, long-term care and what all that includes, and from a facility like services, just kind of give, like, if somebody's never heard of it, didn't know they needed it, like how would you say that? How would you start the conversation?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for long-term care is it eases the burden. If someone goes into a long-term care event, it's much like, I equate it really to kind of what we saw with COVID, where we were kind of moving along and then all of a sudden, boom, there's this big whatever, everything shuts down. And long-term care can happen the same way. That can be more of a progressing deal, but sometimes it's just an event. And when that happens, now who's going to pick it up? Like, is it family? Is it friends? Who's going to be there to help with that care and get the care? And where's that care going to take place? So most people, if you were to poll people and say, hey, where would you like that care to be? Nobody's saying a facility. Nobody wants to go there. That's not. So long-term care covers home health. It covers assisted living. There's coverage for if you need the full-on nursing home care, right? Memory care. But so it can cover all of those broad spectrums. And, we can obviously go into the weeds a lot there. But the biggest thing is it really is protection against and alleviating some of the burden so that it doesn't put on your financial portfolio. It's pennies on the dollar, as they all say, to provide that protection so that you're not having to spend down all your life savings to cover those costs. So
if you think your mortgage is high, you should see what some of these facilities cost per month. So yeah, any help you can get is much appreciated, I'm sure. So, Katie, I know you had a couple more questions for Eric before we wrap up today.
Yeah. So Eric, if people are watching this today and they think, wow, Eric seems like a great guy, I would like him to help me. What's the best way that people can get in touch with you? And also what is your customer journey? Like how do you work with your clients?
Yeah. So first of all, just to get a hold of us, we have our website at www.audiblefg.com. I'm one of the co-founders of Audible Financial Group, LLC. My business partner is Benjamin Gerald, who's also been in the business for a long time as well. And or you can email eric@audiblefg.com or phone number 972-955-7504. Any of that, call, we'll talk, see if we're a good fit. Client process, realistically, it depends on where it comes from. If it's referral, sometimes those are warmed up, so they're a little bit further down the way. But initially, it's just, let's have a conversation. Let's see if we fit. One of the things that I will tell everybody is that, when you look for a financial advisor, make sure that they fit what you're trying to do. It's good personality, fit for you. You like what they're saying. We all get those gut feels, right? I mean, so that's the main thing. The first meetings are just introduction, who we are, what we do, how we help, and get to know them more than anything. Really just want to know how we can be of service. From there, then we'll start digging into the weeds and getting where we're at and what all you have in place, what you like, what you don't like, how we can help, what we think we can do to help you, and then put those plans in place. We preach 3 C's, and I know these two have heard this a lot, but with confidence, clarity, and create a plan. We want our clients to have confidence to with whatever they're doing. We want it to be clear, and so they get that clarity. So we try to make it as clear as possible. We don't want it to be complicated with a whole bunch of different numbers and strategies and all that. We want it to be very succinct and clear for them so they have that clarity. And then realistically, we create a plan so that they can take action. Because the worst thing that we can do is not take action. We got to start in the world of financial planning. So
yeah. That's awesome.
That's great. I remember early on sending you a life insurance lead, and I was so impressed that you said, okay, I can quote this, but what is this person's situation? Why do they need this life insurance? Why this amount? What are they trying to do? And, so many people are out there that just say, oh, I'll give you a quote. And then they just, try to come in with a super inexpensive quote without taking the time to ask those questions. So I just really appreciate that about you, that you really want to understand their situation. And like you said, treat everybody as a unique individual client that they are.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've always seen growing up, and another reason that I got into this, was financial talk is somewhat taboo, but it's just not discussed. And it doesn't need to be. And we everybody needs it. It's not as difficult as a lot of it's made out to be, but it's just knowing who to talk to and just having those conversations. Have the conversation, because most financial advisors out there, we're trying to help, and that's all we're here for. I know Nathan and I've had great conversations on this. I mean, we all want to be an asset for you and be that resource, but unless we can have those conversations and have that discussion, and just like when you go to the doctor and you open up to the doctor so they can diagnose, same thing with an advisor. You've got to come with what you're doing and so that way we can help. Because if we don't know the whole story, it's hard to help and show you all what we think can help you with. So
That's great. And I do just want to throw this out. One of the worst days in an insurance agent's career is when they've spoken to a client about a certain coverage. The client delays getting the coverage, and then a health event comes, a new health event's diagnosed, and they no longer can qualify for the coverage. And so I just want to encourage anybody watching this, if your interest is piqued by what we've talked about today, please contact us. Please contact us before your health changes so you can get the coverage that you want before you can no longer qualify for it.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely the worst days. We get phone calls like that all the time, and it kills me because I have to break the news. But please.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show today. Thank you to Shelby, of course. Want to just throw up a couple of things here real quickly. For if you want to come to the Balloon Festival, make sure you go to PlanoBalloonFestival.com. And if you're interested in the Constitution class, which why wouldn't you be? Like, you should definitely be interested in that. So please check that out. This Thursday night, here's the Eventbrite link. You'll see that on the broadcast. You can go back and watch it also at the same time. So thank you to Shelby Williams, Councilman for Plano. Thank you so much to our third Tuesday of the week co-host, the insurance gal, Miss Katie Owen, and guest Eric Reed. Thank you guys so much. I will look forward to seeing all of you guys on Thursday at our networking event. But hey, it's been a great show. Katie, give us one final word, and then one final word from Eric, and then we'll sign off for today.
So if you know of anybody who is 65 or older, they might be stressed out that they have to get into Medicare for the first time, or the Medicare open enrollment is coming up and they just are, very stressed out. Please encourage them to reach out to me. I love helping people, and this is the time of the year they can make a change and get a local agent if that's something that is important to them.
Awesome. Last word to you, Eric.
Yeah. First of all, thank you guys for having me on. Really appreciate that and being able to share. Really, the last thing I'll leave with, if you've been on the fence, if you've been sitting there not knowing what to do with anything come financial, just reach out. If we can't, we'll put you in the right place. We'll push you. We'll get you to the right people. But yeah, just reach out, get started. That's the number one thing. That's what I tell everybody. Start. Just get started. And then we can always make tweaks once you start. But if you don't start, it's hard to help. So
awesome. Great advice, guys. Hey, hope you enjoyed the show today. Stick around. Next Tuesday, we'll be right back here with some awesome guests, great content. It's going to be applicable to you guys as a Plano community. Again, thank you so much. Have a blessed week. Hey, check out a high school football game. Come to the homecoming game this week. Plano. You said Plano East, right, Katie?
Plano Senior playing Plano East.
Okay, it's going to be a great game, and we'll report back on that next Tuesday. God bless. You guys have a great week. Talk to you soon.
You too. Bye.
Thank you for tuning into The Community Difference. If you enjoyed the show, take something you learned and apply it in your community or your business in order to make the difference for someone else. Remember, the smallest change begins with a single action, but a single action can make all the difference. A special thank you to today's amazing guests. Also, if you'd like to be on the show to share your unique story and how it made the difference in your community, please contact Lendon Wilson at lendonw@thedifferenceradio.com. Until next time, this has been The Community Difference in Plano, Texas, hosted by Nathan Smith.